there's our sentence. Both Holmes and Watts do not like criminals. Okay, how about this one? It is not the case that either Sherlock Holmes is fond of criminals or Watts is fond of criminals. It's not the case that one of them likes criminals. It is not the case that either Holmes likes criminals or Watts likes criminals. So you're saying neither of them like criminals, right? We could restate this couldn't we? We could say Holmes does not like criminals and Watts does not like criminals, which is the sentence we had just a second ago. So we can see this sentence and this sentence are exactly logically equivalent. At all times, they are exactly the same outcome for the same truth values. These are just different ways of saying the same thing. Not either, and not this one, and not this one. Same thing. Okay, we're going to do a couple of more. It is not the case that both the Republican will become president and a Democrat will become president. So a Republican will become president. And at the same time, a Democrat will become president. And we're going to put that in parentheses and say it is not the case that you can have both of these obtained. In other words, one of these has to fail. Either the Republican won't get in office or the Democrat won't get in office. We could do that like this. Either the Republican won't get in office or the Democrat won't get in office. It is not the case that both will occur. It is the case that one will fail. Exact truth functional equivalencies. Same thing. And if we wanted to say, well, neither the Republican nor the Democrat are going to get in office because a Libertarian is going to get in office, then it's of course not a Republican and not Democrat, or not a Republican or a Democrat. Okay? These are the same way of saying the same thing, because here we're saying it is not the case that either a Republican will get in presidency or a Democrat. Why is it not the case? Because a Libertarian is going to win. Ron Paul is going to take it. So this one says it's not a Republican that's going to win, and it's not a Democrat. And this says it's not the case that there's going to be either a Republican or a Democrat winning. Both of them say Ron Paul for 2008.
Ron Paul's running as a Republican.
Just ignore all the stuff about Ron Paul. It was a big joke. So you can do a truth condition table for all of these sentences we're working on here. Let's do a quick one, and you can carry this out for other sentences if you're interested. Now remember, we want to exhaust the possibilities, and later we're going to see truth tables where we have 3 terms over here. And when you have 3 terms, of course, your number of terms here becomes huge. And when you have 4 terms, it just becomes an enormous box, because you have to have every possibility of combinations of truth and falsehood exhaustively in your whole table. That's why these tables are just something we'll do in Chapter 2 only. After Chapter 2, these tables are gone, because we're going to have more powerful tools to use at that point. So true, true, false, false, true, false, false, true, all the possibilities and all possible combinations. And let's do it for the sentence not P and not Q. Not P and not Q. And right next to it, we're going to do the sentence not P or Q. So this one we could say Parliament will be in power, the Queen will be in power. So this one says Parliament and the Queen are going to be out of power. So Parliament and the Queen have to be false. So the only place this sentence will be correct is when Parliament and the Queen are out of power. So we're going to call it true in this case, and false anytime either Parliament or the Queen has power. Parliament or the Queen has power. Parliament or the Queen has power. So those are all false. How about this sentence? It is not the case that either this one or this one obtains. So it is not the case that P or Q obtains. In other words, it is not the case that either the Parliament or the Queen will remain in power. Why? Because Osama bin Laden is taking over England. The Queen and Parliament will both be out of power. It is not the case that Parliament or the Queen will remain in power. Therefore, anytime the Parliament or Queen remains in power, this sentence would be wrong. So this sentence only obtains when both Parliament and Queen are out of power. That's this one. So this sentence obtains only in this case. And it fails in all these cases. Now you'll notice, fail, 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 obtain. Exact, true functional equivalence. Those sentences are exactly the same. They say exactly the same thing, and they are always true under exactly the same circumstances. Now you can do those sentences and do these truth tables for all kinds of things. For just about any sentence we do, for every sentence we do in sentential logic, you could do that. But we're just going to practice a few more.